macOS 26 Tahoe is a massive new release, and although the looks have changed a lot, it's not just about looks, it's also about function. And we're going to take a look at it all right now. But first, a word from our sponsor. 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube is sponsored by iMazing 3. This major version marked the beginning of a broader vision. Its aim? To provide scalable, professional-grade tools for managing Apple mobile devices across personal, educational, and enterprise contexts. Paired with the iMazing Profile Editor and iMazing Configurator, this handy utility is quickly becoming the go-to solution for anything iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and soon more. It offers unparalleled control over Apple mobile devices. Users can browse and restore from backup snapshots, transfer data such as messages, WhatsApp chats, photos, and music, and access a robust set of utilities covering device diagnostics, app management, and more. Whether it's for personal use or fleet oversight, it remains the most capable iOS device manager available. Try iMazing today by visiting the link in the description. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube. So macOS Tahoe gets a pretty significant redesign to go along with all the other Apple OS releases for the 2026 year. And that redesign includes a new wallpaper interface, so you can actually set the screensaver directly from the wallpaper section of settings here. But obviously the big thing is the new wallpaper itself. This is the Tahoe wallpaper that you see in the background. Here is the dark version of that wallpaper, and here's what it looks like just by itself. And we'll bring it back. Now let's go back to settings and we'll switch back over to the light, and I'll show you that by itself as well. What do you think about the new wallpaper? Let me know down below. But of course, that's not the only new thing that's changed. You get an updated window corner radius. So significantly rounded off corners, so you can see that compared to the corner of the screen of the display itself. What do you guys think? I mean, on one hand, I don't think it's a huge deal, but it is going to be interesting to see what future displays look like that are released from Apple, the first-party displays like the Pro Display XDR update. And one of the most notable visual changes is the transparent menu bar. So you get a full bleed wallpaper that extends from the very top to the very bottom. And you can see that menu bar there all the way across. So there's no longer the line that delineates the menu bar from the wallpaper, or the desktop, I should say. But in the second beta, Apple actually released an update to show the menu bar background. So now you can bring that background back just like it has always been, just like that. So you can see this is without it, this is with it, and we'll show you without it again. There's without it. Which one do you prefer? Let me know down below. And to go along with that, you also have transparent sidebars and transparent toolbar at the top. So you can see the toolbar, how the sidebar sort of bleeds into that toolbar and it's translucent. Kind of a cool effect there. But also the sidebar itself, you can see how it's adopting the colors of what's underneath. So as I move it, it's very subtle, but you can tell the blue background is shining through just a little bit. And you also have a redesigned control center. So it gets that whole liquid glass look that was shown off during WWDC. We'll talk much more about the control center here in a bit because it's radically changed here in macOS 26 Tahoe. Then there's the updated widget appearance. So you have the new liquid glass widgets, and you can alter the appearance right from within system settings. If you go to settings and you go to appearance, you'll see icon and widget style. So these combine both of those. So basically you have your default, you have your dark, so that affects the icons as well. You can see the widget style, you have your clear widget, and you also have a tinted option. Now you can switch from clear to light to get that sort of that liquid glass look here. So if you go to clear, you see dark, it's a subtle difference there, but if we switch over to light, then you will see that liquid glass sort of translucent look. That's very easy to identify there. But also, like I said, you have the tinted option too. So we'll go ahead and switch over to that here. Let's go ahead and get over the tinted. And there you can see that's going to adopt the colors that you select here. So you can have it automatic to adopt your theme, or you can switch between all these various colors here. You can even go as far as to customize the color by selecting other. We'll show you that here in just a second. But like I said, it's not just widgets. that are affected. We'll talk more about that. But first, let's look at the dock, because the dock has been updated, and it's a pretty striking update with the liquid glass background. And you can really tell when you move something beneath it, you can see how that light reflects or refracts as you move it. And it's very glass-like, just like on iOS 26. I think this looks awesome, to be honest with you. And Apple doesn't go overboard with the transparency there. And you also have clear and tinted app icons. So like I said earlier, you get the widget style, but that also affects the icons as well. So if I choose dark, of course, you get the dark here within the dock, and on the sidebar of the settings, you can also switch over to clear, and you can see that, and you can see again the liquid glass, how it refracts the light, even with those clear icons. And you can choose light clear icons as well, so that even takes on more of the translucency there. And then you can choose tinted as well, and of course that will adopt whatever color you choose. Really, really nice graphics there. And again, this affects icons as well. So like not just on the dock, not just on the sidebar, but also within the Finder as well. So an applications folder or within various folders within Finder, you're going to find those updated as well. And you also get just updated app icons in general. So Finder, you get the new apps icon, which replaces Launch Bar. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the Spotlight section. But you can see these other app icons have been updated. And one thing to note, the trash icon has been updated significantly. And for app icons that haven't yet conformed to the macOS 26 standard, you'll get this little gray outline for those icons until those are updated. So third parties will need to update their app icons if not already. Now you also have folder colors as well. So you can go in, and if you choose the tinted option, it's going to reflect that for both widgets, icons, and folders. But if you just go to default, it's only going to affect, you can see, just the folders in this case. You can also, like I said, go to other and really customize. You can even use a color picker if you want to, or just use your theme color if you want. But macOS 26 takes it to another level. Not only can you customize the folder color, but you can also customize the icons, and you can customize individual folders as well, just like you could before with tags. But now it's a little bit more explicit when it comes to the colors, because it actually changes the entire color of that folder when you select that tag, not just a little dot next to it. So you can easily customize those folders, and then when you go into your tags on your sidebar of your Finder, you can quickly jump to the folders that have been specifically tagged. And these aren't the same as customizing all folders. Just keep that in mind. So if I go in and customize, I can even add an icon, or I can add an emoji as well to further customize those folders. Really cool. Now, if I remove that tag, see, it adopts the color that you have set for the entire system for that folder. So if I go into appearance and say, hey, I want my folders to be pink, well, the ones that aren't tagged are going to adopt that color. And if I take the tags off of Electric and 9 to 5 Mac, for instance, it's going to go ahead and switch over to the red color as well. Now, notice this new folder animation. See that? You got to look closely. Pretty cool. I like that new update. It's the subtle things, the whimsical nature of macOS. And there's also a new hand style. So you no longer have the Mickey Mouse gloves with the little lines on the hand. It's just a plain hand now, which is unfortunate. Now you also have clear terminal options to go along with the liquid glass update. So you have clear dark and clear light. So here's what clear dark looks like for the terminal. But if we're being honest, you could kind of do this before by setting the opacity of the terminal. You could do that in older versions of macOS as well, but now it's nice to have these predefined presets. You can also customize the clock on the lock screen now. So just like you can on iOS, where you can go in and change the lock screen clock style, you can change the appearance here in macOS. So I can go through and choose any of these 6 styles. I can set it to change on lock screen or screensaver. And you can also change the font weight for certain styles, as you can see there. So I want to select this one right here, select a really thin one, and then I lock, and there you go. So you also have the updated Finder icon, which is very controversial. So here's how it looks in beta 2. Here's how it used to look though in beta 1. And you can see that just didn't look all that right. So kudos to Apple for recognizing that that needed to be changed. Now the menu bar in Control Center has a big update. Now it just says menu bar in settings instead of Control Center like it used to. And that's for good reason, because there's a lot of menu bar controls that you can customize here. Obviously, the ability to show and hide the menu bar background, which we already talked about a little bit. And then you have your various menu bar controls, which we'll also get back to. That's the Control Center element of it. But basically think of Control Center and menu bar as one and the same, so to speak. Then below that, you can enable or disable your various controls. So you can see things like battery or Siri. So if I uncheck those, you can see how those just disappear. See, I'm unchecking each one of those. And then there's some that will only show when active. And you can, of course, go in there and change that. That in and of itself is not new. The ability to always show or show only when active has appeared in previous versions of macOS, but a little bit different interface here. But here's what is new. So allow in menu bar. So these third-party menu bar icons, now you can actually disable those outright. That's pretty cool, because previously sometimes developers didn't include the option to disable those. Now you can just go in there and force them to disable just like that, which is super nice to finally have. And I definitely appreciate that. Now, like I said, Control Center, complete redesign. So now you can right click and choose your various sizes for your Control Center widgets, just like that. And you can also remove just by right clicking and select remove for any of the controls there. So even these smaller ones, you can resize those to be larger. And if you tap edit controls, now you have the whole new Control Center interface that has all your various toggles, including toggles from third parties as well, are going to be able to be in here too. So that significantly enhances the power of Control Center in macOS 26. And just like on iOS, you can rearrange the items within the Control Center as well. Now, when you click Add Controls under Menu Bar Settings, that's the same thing as Edit Controls right here within the Control Center itself. And again, it's just a matter of clicking, selecting Add a Control Center. You can also add directly to Menu Bar from here as well, but I just added Low Power Mode to Control Center and the Menu Bar, so you can see it there. So when I click here, you can see that toggle on. See it in the Control Center, toggles on. And I can toggle that off and it reflects in Control Center as well, and vice versa. So if I go back to add controls and you click the little plus button there, now you can add additional pages for Control Center items. So now you can have a whole separate page group for your various controls. So this is a great way to separate specific groups of controls if you want to do that. So that's extremely powerful. So you can see how you can just go in there. Actually, let's just go ahead and just drag and drop a whole bunch of stuff over there. Let me just show you how it all works real quick. We'll just get a whole bunch of stuff in there. Let's find some cool stuff. And like I said, this has been expanded greatly here in macOS 26, not only with the third parties being able to add stuff in here eventually, but even with the first party stuff, there's a lot more stuff that you can control directly from Control Center or the menu bar. So I've just added a bunch of stuff, click done. Let's go ahead and just reorganize some of this stuff. Edit controls, go back here, edit, and we're gonna just get it organized a little bit. So you see you have things like automatically hide and show dock, keyboard brightness, dark mode, all that. So what's really cool, automatically hide and show dock, just click that. See, previously you couldn't do that within Control Center. Now you can even invoke things like mission control directly from Control Center, obviously enable or disable dark mode directly from Control Center. And again, you can have those within different pages. So just a much more powerful system. Now, live activities also comes to macOS for the very first time, courtesy of iPhone mirroring, which launched last year in the Sequoia update. So basically Apple building upon the foundation set before with iPhone mirroring, being able to launch your exact iPhone interface right there from your Mac and being able to control, get notifications, interact with apps, etc. It's just like having your iPhone right there on your Mac. But now you have the ability to view live activity. So if I start a Vitruvian workout, that live activity appears right there in the menu bar. So I could see as I'm working out the progression of my workout, progression of my sets, etc. And even if I close out of iPhone mirroring, that live activity is still going to be there. So basically, whenever a live activity appears on your phone, it's going to be mirrored here in the menu bar so you can keep up with it even if you don't have your phone right there beside you, which is super nice. You can see it automatically updates just like it does on the phone. So I completed a workout and it represents that just like you would expect. So that's a really cool new addition in macOS 26. Again, I'm going to start up a live activity. You can see it appear, click it, and now I'm starting the bench press. Just like that. Now, you guys know I'm a huge Alfred fan, so Spotlight's update is a long time coming. It's something that I think is going to be a big deal for many casual users. You're going to get a much more powerful Spotlight. I don't think it's going to replace apps like Alfred or standalone clipboard managers just yet, but it gets you most of the way there. So first and foremost, the Launchpad has been replaced by a new apps shortcut, and that basically just launches Spotlight, right? So this is one of the 4 Spotlight views, that being applications. You can go in there. Unfortunately, this is more like the app library for macOS, or the macOS version of the app library from iOS, I should say. So you can go in there and you can like view by name or by category, but you can't rearrange anything like you could with Launchpad. You can't add folders or create your own folders or customize it at all. So that's unfortunate, but it is kind of what it is. But as you can see, your iPhone apps also appear within this application section of the Spotlight as well. You see that denoted by the little icon in the bottom right-hand corner. So you can launch an iPhone app directly from here if you want to. For instance, Sneaky Sasquatch. So you can obviously search for a specific app, and I'm just going to launch it just by clicking on it. Notice what happens. It launches iPhone mirroring, and it immediately opens up Sneaky Sasquatch, puts it in the landscape mode, just like it needs to be. And just like that, you're playing a iPhone game right there on your Mac, or any application for that matter. But again, you can access this via the apps shortcut that's located directly there in your dock. So again, you can customize category or name, or show a list, or show just individual icons if you want to do that. But beyond that, there's no more customization. So that's unfortunate, but Spotlight isn't just about searching for apps. As you can see here, when you go to applications, if you hit escape, it'll just go to the normal Spotlight search just like normal. But as soon as you move your mouse, you get these other sections. So applications, files, actions, and clipboard. You see they're all assigned to a specific command shortcut. So command 1, applications, command 2, files, command 3, shortcuts, and command 4, your clipboard. But here in files, this is really neat. So you get these filters. So you can search for stuff and then filter by the file type if you want to, or the application, for instance, here with preview. And then you can even further filter to say, I want preview screenshots. And it'll list all the screenshots that will open with preview. Pretty cool. So you can really get in there and filter and drill down to exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for ScreenFlow documents, you can do that, or anything else that's listed there. You can just get to those with a single click, which is super nice, right? And again, these shortcuts. So command 2 takes you to files. Command 1 takes you back to applications. Command 2 back to files. Command 3 to actions or your shortcuts. And command 4 to your clipboard, as you can see there. So we'll get back to clipboard in just a second because I have a lot to say about that. But now let's talk about actions. And here's where you can perform all sorts of automations or actions that pertain to various apps that are on macOS. So for instance, you have automations regarding pages, or automations regarding system settings or terminal, or even third-party apps like Things. And it's more than just performing a canned action, but you can actually build on those actions Let me show you how this works. So you could say for the timer, you can start the timer for a duration. So you can enter that duration right there on the fly and click start timer. You can even adjust the interval. So you can change it from minutes to hours if you want to. And that will start that timer just like that. So you can see there's all sorts of different suggestions in here and various actions, but you can also go in and assign a quick key. So this is basically just a quick snippet or shortcut that you can use to invoke that action. So now I put TIM for start timer. So I just type TIM in Spotlight and that will automatically run that start timer action just like that. So TIM. And then you can go ahead and just start entering the duration if you want to. So 3 minutes. And then you can start that timer for 3 minutes. Pretty awesome new feature here in macOS Tahoe. As you can see there, the timer has started. We'll go ahead and just close that out. So again, a really powerful new addition to Spotlight. Really supercharging Spotlight to be more like apps like Alfred or utilities like Alfred. And speaking of which, you now have the clipboard manager baked right in to the Spotlight search. I'm going to go ahead and enable clipboard. This includes clipboard history from universal clipboard items as well. So if you copy something on your phone, then that should go ahead and copy and be available within the clipboard manager on macOS. So here, I'm just going to copy this text here from 9 to 5 Mac, Command C, or you can right click, of course, but here Command C, and now that's going to appear in my clipboard manager. So I'm going to open up Spotlight search, and there it is. It even tells you the application it was copied from, the type, so it's text, what time it was copied, and if you just click on it like that, then that will automatically paste that into whatever application you're currently using, or you can click this little icon right here to copy that to your clipboard, or back to your clipboard, I should say. So let me show you how this works. So here's a note. I'm going to open up my clipboard manager, and you can see I've copied a lot of stuff already. So now I'm just going to click on something, and that's going to automatically appear in the notes. So if I just click, let's choose everything new, or how about this, Netflix. So just click that, and you can see that paste that right there within that note. So again, I open up Spotlight, and I could do the same thing for something else. Now I'll choose this big block of text here. One thing I don't like about this is it doesn't retain the formatting of the text. So if you copy this and it had HTML formatting, it's not going to present that same formatting like some other clipboard managers are able to do. If you do paste a link in there, obviously the links work. You can also paste in images. So here is a clipboard image. Just paste that right in, click on that. So pretty cool. Kind of rudimentary, I guess you could say, compared to some of the more advanced clipboard managers like Pastebot, which is super powerful. Even Alfred has some more advanced clipboard management features. There's not a lot of customization you can do here within the Spotlight clipboard manager, but again, just the fact that we have a built-in clipboard manager in macOS is a pretty big deal. It's something we've been wanting for a very long time, something we've had to rely on third parties for a very long time. But now this is baked right in to macOS. You can also search, obviously, on all your clipboard history. One thing you can't search on, apparently, are, at least in this version, the images that have been copied to your clipboard. So maybe that'll be fixed in future versions. Now, circling back a bit on actions. Actions, like I said, are not just canned things, but you can actually customize them directly from the Spotlight search. So here you can say send an email. You can put in the recipient, you can put in the subject, you can put in the body of the email, and send that email just like that directly from Spotlight. It sends it via the Mail app with just a click or just a press of the return key. And you can see there's that email that was just sent. So super powerful thing to do there. And here's one of my favorite new features, the ability to access menu bar items from the app that you're currently in. So here, audio meters right from Spotlight, I can turn on or turn off the audio meters for Final Cut Pro. Look in the bottom right-hand corner directly from Spotlight. Powerful. Now, the phone app comes to the Mac for the very first time. Obviously, we had we had FaceTime before this, but now you actually have the proper phone app, and it'll actually pull in the phone calls from your iPhone that's nearby and allow you to access all the new features in that you found in iOS with the new phone interface. For instance, the ability to reduce distractions and have sort of filtering, a separate list for things like unknown callers and missed calls and voicemails and spam. You have that here baked into macOS 26. And you can also obviously initiate phone calls or receive phone calls, and it includes the full poster. So the contact poster, you have all your various recents, you have the various details and all the sections there, so you can see addresses and stuff like that, and all the new features that have come to the phone app in iOS 26 have made their way to macOS 26. And you have that dialer directly from macOS as well. So I'm just going to create a quick phone call. So we're going to call Apple here. And here we go.
Welcome to Apple. Calls are recorded and transcribed for evaluation, to train personnel, and to improve contact center technology.
So all your new features like Hold Assist are there. And you also have the ability to record a phone call, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the notes section. And you have the settings where you can start new calls from a specific number and choose your default app for calls. You have your blocked list as well. You have your ringtone that you can customize, all that goodness right in there. And again, calls from iPhone, you have live voicemail, you even have live translation if you want that. And again, super handy new feature. The image playgrounds have been updated just like it was updated in iOS. You have things like Genmoji creation directly from image playgrounds, and you have the ability to tap into ChatGPT image types, which is super nice. So we're gonna show you how this all works here. So now with the Genmoji specifically, you can create emoji by combining multiple emoji, which is super nice, right? So here, just select Genmoji. So you can combine two emoji or an emoji and a description to create a new emoji. So if I add all these together, you can see what you can create there. And really the sky's the limit as far as what all you create. I mean, you can just go on and on and on and keep scrolling through the generative emoji that this creates. All right, so you can also, like I said, combine a description and an emoji if you want to. Combine those together. So I just type in smiling dog and it creates smiling dog for me. And then I can add additional stuff in there. So if I say party hat, add a party hat there and combine those two just like that. Now, here's the really cool thing. So you have ChatGPT integration within Image Playgrounds. So you have multiple new image types or styles like oil painting, watercolor, vector, anime, print, or any style. So let's go ahead and try out fluffy anime dog. And in an anime style, it does just that. All right, let's try my mug here. Share with ChatGPT. Let's create an anime style Jeff, just like that. And we know iPadOS got the Journal app finally, right? Just seems natural. And macOS got the Journal app as well. So this was previously an iPhone or iOS exclusive. So now you can sync all your journal entries from your iPhone to your iPad to your Mac. And it just makes sense, right? So if you have a lot of journal entries, it's going to just pull all those in when you sync or when you have iCloud syncing enabled. So here's some of the older entries that I put in from my phone. And you can see those show up. So all the various assets that you have there, for instance, I listen to music, it's going to list those. You can even now with the Journal app have multiple journals, and that reflects here on the macOS Journal app as well. So here I have a flowers journal, a separate from my regular journal, and I'm just adding a new entry to the flowers journal, just like that. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you use Journal? Let me know down below in the comments section. And also the Games app, another new feature that came to iOS, also comes to macOS, a dedicated Games app. Basically, this is sort of like Game Center and Apple Arcade and the Games section of the App Store all combined into one. So of course, this can be used to view the various titles that Apple offers, either within the App Store or within Apple Arcade. So you can go in there and access those games. You can download those games directly from the Games app. And here's the arcade section. So that's going to list all the Apple Arcade titles there. If you're subscribed to Apple Arcade, you can easily download those games and play them. So I'm just getting that game directly from the Games app. Don't have to open up the App Store. So I can click play and play that app directly launched from the Games app. So just like before, when you launch these games, game mode will turn on. But what is new in macOS 26, just like on iOS 26, is the ability to access the games overlay. So sort of like Game Center, but new for macOS 26, and really sort of a consistent look across all the games here. And there you can adjust things like your display, your sound, whether or not you have a controller connected, whether game mode is on, your leaderboards, access all your achievements, etc. Now, one of my favorite new features for iOS 26 was the new reminders update, which has a really handy new feature called auto categorize, among other things, right? So I'm going to create a new list here. We're just going to call this list, how about random 2.0, right? And just click OK. And now I'm just going to put in a whole bunch of random items, random list items like apples, oranges, pears, Mario, Bowser, Toad, MacBook, iPhone, iPad, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Ronaldo, right? Messi, Mbappe, Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, just complete random nonsense, right? But now here within macOS 26, a new update incorporates Apple Intelligence. So if you can go down and select auto categorize, you can see it's working there, and it will automatically create categories from all the list items and sort them in a way that makes sense. So you have video game characters, fruits, famous athletes, Apple products. So that's a really cool feature. But here's the really nice thing: when you add a new item to this list, which you can do directly from Spotlight now. So I'm going to add in LeBron James to not the personal, but the random. There we go. And watch what happens. Automatically places him under famous athletes. So just kind of a cool new feature. Neat to see those two things work together with the auto categorization and, of course, the ability to really specifically add certain things via the Spotlight search. And of course, the Messages app got lots of updates just like it did on iOS. So here you have backgrounds. You can go ahead and customize those backgrounds if you want to. You can use backgrounds from your phone, or, images from your phone. It'll suggest those images as well that will make good backgrounds. But there's also a color option, which is animated. So you can go in there and customize that color if you want to do that. So I combine two colors, but there's also presets like stone or carbon. I really like that. It's animated, and everyone in the conversation can see that background as well when you switch to it. So here's some other animated ones like water or sky or aurora, and they each have their own little customized thing. And again, like I said earlier, you'll get suggestions for photos directly from your photo library that you can go in and customize as well with dual tone or stuff like that. Again, it looks really cool. But also you have Apple Intelligence or image playgrounds that you can use to generate backgrounds for your Messages conversation. So you can just go in there and create a described image or use some of the pre-canned themes to sort of make a background for you or generate a background automatically. And once you do, you can even customize that further with dual tone, color wash, or black and white. And then you can set that as the background as well. So that's a really nice new feature. There's also auto translate, which is super nice. So you can see I'm talking. When I say bonjour, it says hello, and vice versa. So you just go in there. You can also add polls. And we're going to add several choices. So we'll just add iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17e. Which phone will you buy? And then the various members of that group message can go in and vote on your poll. And you can, of course, add additional choices if you want to do that. You can even view the statistics of that poll. just by right-clicking, etc. Now, here's another new feature, the ability to add, in the case of a group message, add the contact of unknown numbers directly from that message, and you also have now typing indicators for group messages. The Notes app got a couple of new updates. For instance, obviously with the phone app now, being able to record a phone call allows you to create that note or save that recording as a transcribed recording directly to the Notes app. So that's something that's new. And you can, of course, play that back if you want to, along with getting a summary. But that's nice. So just like iOS 18 last year, this feature now comes to macOS 26. And you have the ability to not only import but export Markdown from the Notes. So you have import Markdown or export as Markdown. And you can see that right here. There's your Markdown for that particular note. And Shortcuts gets some noteworthy updates for sure, right? This is a big one, actually. So the ability to go in and tap into Apple Intelligence, whether it just be some of the basic writing tools like adjusting the tone of a text, rewriting text, or image playgrounds, or using a model. So tapping directly in to one of the large language models, whether that be Apple's own private cloud compute or own device, or using an extension like ChatGPT. But we'll just use, in this case, private cloud compute. I'll say, tell me a joke, and we'll actually add a speech output for this particular action here. So there's the joke, but I'm going to ask it to add a speak text action as well to speak the response of the joke that's generated from private cloud compute or whatever LLM you select.
Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Face with tears of joy.
So 1984 throwback voice there for sure. But not just that, you now have also automation. So this is huge for macOS. So the ability to do certain things when things happen, to trigger certain things. So for instance, when an external drive is connected or disconnected, to trigger certain actions, or when a document is added to a folder, trigger an action, or when a specific app is opened or closed, trigger an action, or battery level, or whether a display is connected, trigger an action, or whether there be a specific time of day. That's actually what we're going to tap into right now because it's just super easy to show off. So I say when this time of day occurs, let's make that 10:33 and run immediately. Let's make it 10:34 actually. And then next, and then we're going to add the shortcut that we just created. So it's 10:34. Let's see what happens.
Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
And it worked just as expected. So ladies and gentlemen, what is your favorite new macOS 26 Tahoe feature? Let me know down below in the comment section with your thoughts, and be sure to thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9to5Mac. iMazing Profile Editor 2 introduces Total App Setup, an automatic configuration engine that detects and sets up required permissions and entitlements for macOS apps. This time-saving utility reduces errors in complex deployment scenarios and reinforces iMazing's role in professional Apple IT environments. For system administrators and enterprise IT, iMazing Configurator adds powerful capabilities for provisioning, supervising, and automating Apple iOS device setup at scale. 9to5Mac. It also streamlines MDM enrollment and migration processes. Integrated with iMazing and Profile Editor, it completes a deployment suite trusted by public institutions, enterprises, and IT professionals worldwide. Try iMazing today by visiting the link in the description. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9to5Mac on YouTube.